Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Only for Managers. I was just starting out in my industry, but quickly was promoted to team lead and then manager of my group. Turns out I made the least of the old team and management wanted them all to quit. Go figure. I live in an area that sometimes gets heavy snow, making getting to the office time consuming and dangerous. My former boss lived in another state and worked from home, but no one else was permitted to work from home, so we all had to deal with it. Most of the senior managers worked out of state from home. One year it was pretty bad, and when I suggested leniency on working from home, my boss said I could work from home, but no one else could, and if they didn't like it, they had to use their pathetically little vacation days. I lived closest to the office, so there was no way in heck I would tell my team they had to report, but I was going to stay home, and I thought the whole thing was BS. So one very snowy day, I got a call from an employee requesting to work from home. I informed her of the policy and she was mad and said, fine, I'll take a day off. A few minutes later, another call, same results. We had a huge workload that day and ended up with me and one other person working. I called my boss to ask her what to prioritize and to inform the sales team we wouldn't hit their deadlines. I could hear the steam coming out of her ears when I explained the team took PTO. Before the next storm, the rules changed to if there's a state of emergency they can work from home, and then again to if the school is closed in their area they can work from home. I left that place and haven't looked back. Last I heard they are still being crazy aggressive about work from home, and management is at each other's throat with high turnover and not so quality employees. The next story is called Manager Compliance. This happened a few years ago. I was part of a security team for a large public building. Since the building had to be available to the public for more than 8 hours per day, we had 2 shifts. Early shift 6 AM to 2 PM and late shift 10 AM to 6 PM. I was the supervisor on the late shift. My staff consisted of me and 6 guards, including a guy I'll call Jersey. The building closed at 5 PM, which meant no more people could come in, but the employees and public inside could finish their business and leave. At the end of the day, our job was to ensure the building was clear of people, lock all the appropriate interior doors, set the alarms and leave at 6. Since it didn't take 7 of us to complete this, I would allow all staff except one to leave at about 5:15 or 5:30. By then, 90% of the people were gone. The daily designated staff member and I could handle the closing tasks. The staff would rotate who stayed with me each day, and the system worked out well for all involved. This meant everyone was getting off work 30 to 45 minutes early every day and getting paid for a full day. One morning, about 9:30, we had a minor crisis in the building and I needed a staff member to handle it. I knew it would take most of the day, so I didn't want one of the early shift guys to handle it or it would incur overtime. 2 or 3 of my guys, including Jersey, were in the locker room getting ready to start their shift. I asked Jersey to grab his gear and go handle the issue. He looked at me and said, "You know, technically I ain't on the clock yet." I told him he was correct and to never mind. I grabbed a day shift person to handle the issue and the day progressed as normal. 5:15 rolls around and I wander into the locker room. I see my guys all getting ready to leave, including Jersey. I asked them where they were going. They told me which employee was staying with me and that he was still at his post. I glanced around the room, then locked eyes with Jersey and said, "You know, you are technically all still on the clock. Nobody leaves before 6. It was dead silent as I walked out of the locker room. I have no idea what was said to him in the locker room, but I bet it wasn't pretty. We all stayed late that day and no one said a word about it to me. However, the following morning, Jersey was in my office waiting for me when I arrived. He said, "Hey boss, I'm sorry about yesterday morning. I was out of line. You won't hear that from me ever again. Whatever you need, I'm here." We returned to normal operations after that, and I had no trouble getting someone to step up on occasion. As a boss, I will do whatever I can to take care of my employees, but I expect a little flexibility from them in return. The third story is called Karen Compliance. So to start, I'm a hazmat driver. I hold cryogenics like liquid nitrogen, oxygen and argon in a larger tank. Sometimes to make deliveries I have to take up the entire parking lot. There's really no other way to make the delivery. Well, I arrived at the customer and got backed in to start offloading some nitrogen. This Karen, with the haircut and all, pulls up in her car, then starts yelling at me and being rude as hell, telling me I need to move my truck and I can't be blocking the path out. And blah blah blah. I have no patience for being disrespected. so I maliciously comply. I got her name and I called my boss, told him I was being harassed and yelled at by a Karen at the stop and I was going to leave. He's a really cool guy and completely understands. Says he'll call over and talk to the boss of the company I was at and explain why they weren't getting their delivery. They used the liquid nitrogen for their lasers and such, and they were almost empty. They ran out and had to shut down operations until another driver got out there to make the delivery, which wasn't for at least 2 days. Not sure what was said between my boss and hers, but I haven't seen her car there since. The next story is called Open Up Another One. I was in Pets at Home, in the UK, just buying some dog poo bags. It was the only thing I needed. There was one staff member on the till serving a customer who had a mountain of items. They were taking ages as there was so much stuff. I was next in the queue and there was one person behind me. Another staff member walked past with stock in their hands, clearly busy, when the woman behind me decided to pipe up. "Excuse me, can you open up another till? This is ridiculous how long it is taking, I need to be at work." The staff member kinda rolled her eyes but went on another till and called out for who was next. Me. Our conversation went like this. "Is this everything?" "Yes, that's all, thanks." "Do you have a membership card?" "I do, but not with me." "That's fine, I can find you on the system." The staff member then proceeds very slowly to take my postcode, check names, etc. You could hear the woman tooting when the details didn't match. I had to apologize to the staff member that the membership was in my wife's name. She had to search again and I had to give the right details that time. What a shame. Just as she was about to finish my transaction, the customer in front of me finished and Karen got served by the other cashier. The staff member with me looked around, saw her getting served, then signed off the till, apologizing for my rate. Well done, that girl. Screw that Karen. The last story is called How to Destroy Your Company. I worked for a manufacturing company operating hot foil printing machines. For the first 6 months everything went smoothly. I was working 2 machines like most of my other co-workers. Working hours were 8 AM to 5 PM with an hour lunch break. Although nearly all of us came in early to set the machines up and left late after cleaning up the machines at the end of a run. Usually 15 to 30 minutes extra per day. The owner then decided he wanted to retire and sold half of the company to a larger firm with the intention of staying on another year before selling the other half. The new company insisted on all workers, not office staff, clocking in and out, as well as increasing their workload by pushing production goals. The machine they used to clock everyone in and out was the cheapest they could find. Nobody knew how to set it up, so it shifted the cards into the right place to print the time. So times would often be printed on top of one another, or out times would be printed on the column, etc. Big headache for the office worker trying to sort out the mess from 30 plus workers each week. To start, everyone carried on as normal, clocking in when they arrived and clocking out when they left. A week in and everyone on the production floor is called into the office. There will be no unarranged overtime being paid and everyone must clock in and out at the right time, was the message from the new boss. 15 minutes of downtime just to tell us that? Okay then. We would all arrive at our usual time and start to queue up waiting for the clock to tick over to 8 AM. Then everyone would punch in. It took around 4 minutes for everyone to use this one machine. If a run wouldn't be completed before clocking out at lunch, it wouldn't get started. So around 11:45 the production floor started to get quieter. At 11:55 it was almost silent while everyone queued to clock out for lunch at 12. 12:55 everyone queuing up again to clock in at 1 PM. 4:45 PM would bring in another quieting. A week later we all get called into the office again. Some people were not putting in their full hours. They were clocking in a few minutes late and or clocking out a few minutes early each day, and this was not acceptable for the new boss. Also, we had to make sure the cards were printed in the correct position, so it was easier for the office worker who dealt with the wages to calculate our times. No mention of fixing the clock machine. So we diligently set about making sure the cards were printed correctly. End of the queue and clock in at 8:03. Okay, clock out at 12:03. After 3 months, production was so far behind that they had to start asking workers to come in on weekends to clear the backlog of orders that were waiting. Pay at time and a half for the first 4 hours, then time and 3/4 for any hours over that. Nice for those that could do it. A month later and the new boss was losing so much money they had to make cutbacks. How? By getting rid of workers and no overtime. So now they not only couldn't complete the orders, but were asking the remaining workers to work harder and run more machines. I was one of those made redundant. I heard from one who wasn't made redundant about 6 months later that the company folded a month after that as workers quit due to unrealistic pressure. They were so far behind on orders that the customers dropped them as a contractor. The owner never did get to sell the remaining half and retire as planned. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.